Food is a big problem in the monetary system because it can only be obtained with money. People cannot live without food, and the monetary system controls all the food. If you do not believe me, give up the monetary system, take a bow and arrow, and start hunting for food where you live. It's very possible to be arrested by police because you broke the rules of the monetary system, although the earth and its resources cannot be owned. It is also possible that you don't find any animals, probably because of habitat degradation and the control of animals with farms. Fruits and vegetables are difficult to find outside of the monetary system as well. Food is closely controlled by the monetary system. As a result, it is difficult to obtain it outside the system. If you want to build a house with a farm to create your own conditions, food, electricity, you have to buy land and materials from the monetary system and then pay various taxes. Food is the main weapon used to enslave people. Once you have food control, you can manipulate beings who need it. Food is a problem in the monetary system because it comes along with other products that are considered commodities. Food is a commodity. Analyze humans, and with that information decide whether food is a commodity. No wonder the monetary system transformed food into an event. Romantic dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, all holidays promotes food in some way. Many people die daily from lack of food or because of poor food quality. People accept the monetary system because they are unable to live without the resources it controls. Drinkable water was abundant decades ago and nobody had any reason to sell it. That's until it was transformed into a business. This situation is as ridiculous as purchasing air to breathe.
I think, Jacques, you mentioned a statistic that was about water scarcity, how we were on pace to running out of water. Was that a statistic that you had? I couldn't remember.
While there's floods going on all over the country, how can you have a water shortage? What we have to do is harness the floodwaters.
Right.
If people live near a giant waterfall with lots of water, nobody steals water. Nobody packages the air in front of you and takes it home with them. There's so much of it, there's just no need to steal it. What we have to do is produce in abundance, make it available to most people. Crime is based on scarcity, most crimes. The answers are really very simple, they're not complicated. What is complicated is the educational system today, which is false. If we dump stuff into the ocean, toxic materials, and we pollute the air, we are not civilized. As long as we have prisons and military solutions, military people are sincere. They really want to defend the country, but they don't know how. Armaments, airplanes, machine guns, all that is crude and vulgar, the same as a caveman. They're not much different.
Instead of millions of dishes, we produce just a few, but enough for everyone. What would you think about food abundance? What about supermarkets that are always filled with food, but only those who have money can buy it? What about foods that expire and are thrown away? This, when thousands of people die of hunger every day. What about the tons of food wasted every day? What about animal foods? We could just produce something similar for humans instead. After all, the monetary system is for humans. Why not produce bread with vitamins in it for those who die of hunger, an abundance of them?
Wenn ich Ihnen sage, ja, dass die Tonne Weizen jetzt 100 Euro kostet, ja, und Und wenn ich heute schaue, ja, was der Streusplit kostet, ja, und was das Salz kostet, was wir auf die Straßen stellen, was wir im Winterdienst verwenden, ja, dann fällt die Realität. Heute kostet der Streusplit mehr wie der Weizen, den was der Bauer produziert. Und das müssen die Leute wissen. Das müssen die Leute wissen. Es sollte einen gerechten Preis geben für die Produkte, was wir produzieren. Und nicht nur immer sagen, ja, ein Schnitzel darf nur 2 Euro kosten. Und dann wundern sich alle Leute, ja, warum wir Tierfabriken haben mit 20.000 Schweine. Das ist die Frage, ob wir das wollen. Ja? Aber anscheinend wollen es die Leute, weil das wird immer schlimmer. Also wir führen im Jahr ungefähr 2 Millionen Kilo Brot weg. Das, was aber gar nicht schlecht ist, ja, das, was diese 6 2 Tage hat. Das könnte halt noch jeder essen. Und es passiert mir heute immer noch, obwohl ich das Geschäft jetzt da schon mehr als 10 Jahre mache und immer dieselbe Strecken fahre, dass alte Leute stehen bleiben und das Ganze einfach anschauen, was sie nicht glauben können, was wir da machen.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest HD. Well, it's said that on average a family will throw away about 1/3 of all the food that they purchase.
KXLY4's Colleen O'Brien is here with a cool click, one that'll show you how to turn expiring food into a meal.
That's right. Yeah, if you're like me, I hate to waste food, but inevitably I will throw away that almost rotten group of vegetables, and it pains me. I hate throwing away food. But this website, lovefoodhatewaste.com, it'll show you how to turn anything from stale bread to dried out mushrooms and bottom of the cereal bag crumbs into an actual meal. So let me show you the first waste-saving tip they have on this website, and it's something I struggle with. That's portions, and it's right here in the red tab. And all you have to do is choose from the most popular foods here that people have problems with portions. I'm going to choose pasta because I always either cook too much or too little. Nothing wrong with leftovers, but when you cook too little, that's a little disappointing. So here I'm usually cooking for 2 adults, no children, but you can also choose for children. Next step, you need about 200 grams of pasta. Another helpful tip is that with rice they used hand-fill portions or half-mug portions, so really easy to understand. Another one is the meal planner. Save time and money. They make a list for you right here, a 2-week meal planner. Well, all you have to do is print out the shopping list, shop for it, and your meals are already planned, so you're not going to waste any food, you're not going to buy too much or too little. That's a great thing. Now, coming up the next half hour, I'm going to show you the best part of this website, and that is all you have to do if you have something about to expire or a food that's just getting to that point where it's a little bit limp, the veggies, you know what I'm talking about, choose from this list. It'll show you how to make a meal out of that almost expired food.
And there's actually a way to use the crumbs at the bottom of the cereal box, Colleen.
Yeah, this is for the people who hate wasting food so much that they lick their plates.
Oh.
It's true. You can use the bottom of the crumbs in the cereal bag, put it into a bread mixture, and take out the equal amount of flour, and it actually adds texture to your bread. That's according to this website, so you can put your favorite cereal into your bread. Yum! Sounds good to me. So what I wanted to explore this half hour is you have some food expiring, you have some veggies that are going limp. What do you do with them? You don't want to waste them. Well, this will show you a recipe to use all of your expired items, so it does the work for you, because recipe books don't always categorize things by expiring food. So this takes all the guessing out of it. Let's explore it here. All you have to do is go to this blue tab called Recipes. We'll wait for it to get there. And then at the top, there's 4 categories. You want to go to Rescue Recipes. And of course, the word rescue is the main word here. So let's say you have, I have a problem with celery always going to waste because it gets that little hula going on. It does the hula. I don't want to use it, but apparently we can. And here's 4 recipes here that you can use. Celery, that's going to go to waste. Same thing with cheese. You can go to cheese. Really easy. So explore this website, Love Food, Hate Waste.
With these new cages, even farmed fish will be able to travel the ocean. They were created by researchers at MIT by attaching 2 huge propellers to spherical cages 19 meters wide. The new fish homes could become an alternative to conventional cages which are anchored in one place. Large amounts of fish feces can become trapped under cages and damage the seafloor and marine life nearby. Since the swimming cages are designed to drift with water currents, they never sit in one place long enough to cause harm. And if they float too far off course, they can take control by powering up their own propellers. A small boat tethered above carries a diesel generator to power the motors. The researchers recently tested a prototype in Puerto Rico and found that it was easy to maneuver. The cage was able to propel itself at a steady rate of 0.3 meters per second.
Hi, I'm Matt Dansko with Discovery News. We're here in New York City at the Science Barge to learn about sustainable urban agriculture.
Sustainable urban agriculture is a way to grow food in a city, either on buildings or in vacant lots and available space, to reduce food transport into cities and really grow food where people live for a more carbon neutral, fresh, flavorful, nutritious product.
The Science Barge floats in the Hudson River in New York City and is the only working example of a sustainable urban farm in the area. Their mission is to not only grow food without damaging the environment around them, but also to educate people on the benefits of sustainability.
Sustainability is really reducing the impact on the environment with choices you make. What you decide as a consumer to purchase as a food product, you're really voting with your food dollars of what you believe in. The sustainable production methods that we're looking at are controlled environment agriculture. So we're looking at greenhouses coupled with recirculating hydroponic systems, powered by renewable energy sources and irrigated by rainwater collection.
On the barge, these renewable energy systems consist of solar panels, wind generators, and a biodiesel generator. That energy is used to power pumps that help grow plants through water-based technologies, and it can even help grow fish.
You can't really see them, but because the water has all this compost tea in it. But we have tilapia in this tank, and so what we're doing is all the plant material that we have left over that we're not eating, we'll compost that, and we compost it with worms, and then those worms we feed to our fish. Our fish waste goes through a biological filter to convert some of the elements. Then that will go to feed our plants, and then the plants will take up those nutrients to clean the water for the fish. So this is just a continuous cycle, and then that lets us produce fish and plants in the same space, still using controlled environment agriculture, but eliminating some of those other inputs that we're using, like fertilizers. To get water for these systems, we have two ways. We get water from the rain and from the river. So these are our rainwater storage tanks. We have 1,200 gallons of storage capacity here. We get the rain from the greenhouse roof. The greenhouse is 1,300 square feet. So in a 1-inch rain event, we can collect about 800 gallons of water.
And with the collection of this water that will be used and reused before being dumped back out into the environment without hazardous wastes, the cycle of sustainability is complete. This type of sustainable farming works for the barge in New York, but Jen urges people to think about the best sustainable process for their area.
Sustainability is important for every decision that you make, and that decision that you do make is dependent on where you are and what is available to you.
Have you ever wondered how far your food travels before it winds up on your plate? Well, if you live in one of the world's larger cities, your fresh vegetables or even pork may no longer come from a few states away, but may soon come from the 30-story building down the block.
This is Columbia University professor Dixon DePalmier. DePalmier and his students have developed a concept called vertical farming that aims to grow crops and raise animals inside skyscrapers in city centers.
A vertical farm, in our view, is a tall building, transparent, in an urban center that grows our food. The vertical farm of the future, which is a 30-story building, would be one which grew out of a classroom project that I gave my students after we decided to farm indoors. So I asked them how many stories high and how large a building would you have to build in order to feed 50,000 people a year. And they came back to me and said, it's 30 stories high, and it's a full city block, which is 5 acres of land.
Through hydroponics, a solution-based method of growing crops without soil, and by decreasing the distance between producer and consumer, DePalmier believes vertical farming could significantly reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. He feels this would then, in turn, reduce food costs and lessen pollution.
1/5 of all the fossil fuels used in the United States is used for agriculture, either to plow the fields, to harvest the crops, to store the crops, to refrigerate them, or to ship them. or to process them further for value-added things like high fructose corn syrup, etc. So fossil fuels plays a huge role in normal agriculture. It will not play any role whatsoever in urban vertical farming. None.
The idea of vertical farming has spread far beyond Columbia University and has now caught the attention of people around the world.
After a few failed prototypes, I finally came up with this, the Lifesaver bottle. Okay, now for the science bit. Before Lifesaver, the best hand filters were only capable of filtering down to about 200 nanometers. The smallest bacteria is about 200 nanometers. So a 200 nanometer bacteria is going to get through a 200 nanometer hole. The smallest virus, on the other hand, is about 25 nanometers. So that's definitely going to get through those 200 nanometer holes. Lifesaver pores are 15 nanometers. So nothing's getting through. We've got some water from the River Cherwell and the River Thames that flow through here, and this is the water. But I got to thinking, you know, if we were in the middle of a flood zone in Bangladesh, the water wouldn't look like this. So I've gone and got some stuff to add into it, and this is from my pond. Have a smell of that, Mr. Cameraman. Okay. Right, we're just going to pour that in there. Okay, we've got some runoff from a sewage plant farm. So I'm just going to put that in there. Put that in there, there we go. And some other bits and pieces. Chuck that in there. And I've got a little gift here from a friend of mine's rabbit. So we're just going to put that in there as well. Okay. Now, the Lifesaver bottle works really simply. You just scoop the water up. Today I'm going to use a jug just to show you all. Let's get a bit of that poo in there. That's not dirty enough. Let's just stir that up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to take this really filthy water and put it in here. Do you want to drink yet? Okay, there we go. replace the top. Give it a few pumps, okay? That's all that's necessary. Now, as soon as I pop the teat, sterile drinking water is going to come out, and I've got to be quick. Okay, ready? There we go. Mind the electrics. That is safe, sterile drinking water. Good. There you go, Chris. Okay. Lifesaver bottle is used by thousands of people around the world. It'll last for 6,000 litres, and when it's expired using fail-safe technology, the system will shut off, protecting the user. Pop the cartridge out, pop a new one in, it's good for another 6,000 litres. So let's look at the applications. Traditionally in a crisis, what do? We ship water. Then, after a few weeks, we set up camps. And people are forced to come into the camps to get their safe drinking water. What happens when 20,000 people congregate in a camp? Diseases spread. More resources are required. The problem just becomes self-perpetuating. But by thinking differently and shipping these, people can stay put. They can make their own sterile drinking water and start to get on with rebuilding their homes and their lives. Now, it doesn't require a natural disaster for this to work. Using the old thinking of national infrastructure and pipework is too expensive. When you run the numbers on the calculator, you run out of noughts. So here's the thinking different bit. Instead of shipping water and using man-made processes to do it, let's use Mother Nature. She's got a fantastic system. She picks the water up from there, desalinates it for free, transports it over there and dumps it onto the mountains, rivers and streams. And where do people live? Near water. All we've got to do is make it sterile. How do we do that? Well, we could use a lifesaver bottle, or we could use one of these, the same technology in a jerry can. This will process 25,000 litres of water. That's good enough for a family of 4 for 3 years. And how much does it cost? About ½ a cent a day to run. Thank you. So by thinking differently and processing water at the point of use, mothers and children no longer have to walk 4 hours a day to collect their water. They can get it from a source nearby. So with just $8 billion, we can hit the Millennium Goals target of halving the number of people without access to safe drinking water. To put that into context, the UK government spends about £12 billion a year on foreign aid. But why stop there? With $20 billion, everyone can have access to safe drinking water. So the 3.5 billion people that suffer every year as a result, and the 2 million kids that die every year, will live.
Back home, one of Australia's most vital resources is being created out of thin air. An Adelaide company is producing limitless quantities of drinking water using nothing but the air we breathe.
This rather ordinary-looking machine is turning the air we breathe into a precious resource that's fast-running dry. Beautiful, tastes like water.
Yeah, it's quite nice, just like normal water.
The most abundant source of water available on the planet right now is in the atmosphere. I mean, you see it fall as rain. What we do is we take that vapor that's available in the atmosphere, we condense it into drinking water, and you don't have to wait for the rain.
Air is sucked in through the vents, filters purify it, moisture then condenses in this tank. It's treated with ozone and then filtered. Up to 20 litres a day is ready to drink. The larger industrial size can supply even more.
That machine will make 1,000 litres of water a day. It'll supply all your water needs for your entire house.
The smaller version will initially cost around $1,600, then another 16 cents for every litre of water made. By adopting this kind of technology, we could have an endless supply of water. After all, it's all around us. It's in the air that we breathe. All we've got to do is capture it.
And we're looking to build bigger and bigger units. I think it could be a huge part of the solution for the problem here in Australia.
With current technology, those who die of hunger do not die. They are killed. That's the truth. Water is already abundant on the planet, and purifying it is just a problem of using technology, not even a problem of technology. Solutions through technology exist and could be applied starting yesterday, but the monetary system is limiting the technology to maintain the cycle of consumption. If an organisation created by intelligent beings does not have necessities as its main concern, then the organisation itself must be the one to blame.